We'll see occasional rain and drizzle this evening. Otherwise, cloudy skies tonight with a low of 33. Variable clouds tomorrow. Tomorrow's high 47. Considerable cloudiness tomorrow night with a bit of rain late. A low 37. Increasingly windy Thursday with periods of rain. Temperatures approaching the record last reached in 2001. Will reach a high Thursday of 63. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Drew Shannon.
Welcome to another edition of The Ride Home with John and Kathy, live from the Salem-Pittsburgh studios. And now here are your hosts, John Hall and Kathy Emmons.
Hey, good afternoon. Thanks for being with us. Tuesday edition of The Ride Home. Hope that you are well this evening. Kath, good to see you. Anything new and exciting?
John. I don't know if it's exciting for you. It was exciting for me.
Tell me.
I spent the entire morning, and I started at 8:30 and finished shortly before coming to work. I cleaned out my bathroom cabinet and my hall linen closet.
Oh.
And by cleaning out, I mean I cleaned it. Mm-hmm. I took everything out.
Yeah.
I did a
Wiped it down.
I did a purge. Mm-hmm. I did a purge. Do we need this? Do we need this? Do we need this? Do we need this? No. The answer is no. I do have a bottle of shampoo in case you're interested. Do we need this? Okay, did the purge, then cleaned the whole thing.
That's really good.
Scrubbing with different kinds of cloth, depending on the circumstance. Then inserted new, organizer trays in there. Took a while to figure out how to maximize the space appropriately. Sure. Then returned the items I've decided to keep into the space. Mm-hmm. I feel very good about it.
Don't you love it? Like now you open up the door and go, whoa.
Exactly.
Holy smokes.
Before I left work, I stopped in the bathroom just to do that.
Just to look at it. Now, not that long ago, you may have taken a picture of it and put it on Facebook.
I might have done that. Right? Yeah.
Now you're probably less inclined to do so.
Yeah, I don't post things as much on social media. Is that bad?
No, we got a cat. My kid said to me, "Why haven't you posted the picture of the cat on Facebook?" And I'm like, I'm kind of done.
Oh, mm-hmm.
with
the
aforementioned.
Media.
I kind of am.
Okay.
Right. There was a zenith. What I like is the Facebook thing. You'll get your Facebook memories. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm always happy to go back and look at those.
Well, but 5 years from now, you're not going to have any because you're not posting anymore.
Right. But when the kids were young, it was a lot of fun. Now, who wants to hear from me?
Well, when you get a new Lexi, don't you feel like when you get a new animal, it's time to post?
You think so?
Yeah, that's the only time I ever really post is if I have a new animal in the house.
Lexi, how often do you post?
Not often enough. There's very few times that I share anything or post anything. I rarely even post people like a happy birthday. I usually text them privately.
Okay, now you're 23. Mm-hmm. When did you first join social media?
I think when I was 13.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've been on social media for way too long.
And so the reason you're not posting now is because you're like John, you're over it?
Yeah, I'm kind of over it. And I had that period of my time when it was so brand new and so exciting to post. Dopamine doesn't hit anymore. It just doesn't do it.
Yep.
Because, you get the comments or I don't know. I'm kind of done.
Okay.
That's all.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to criticize you guys because I didn't post my bathroom cabinet.
I mean, that is pretty much a low bar. Seriously, it is.
It's sick how pleasing that is for me to think of.
I get it. No.
I'm getting so much sense of satisfaction out of that project.
I look forward to the under the sink cleaning.
Oh, the under the sink cleaning's good.
I mean,
that's really good because what's going on back there isn't good for anybody.
No, it's not good.
No.
All right, well, thanks for the update.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks, you guys.
It's very, very good. Yeah, okay. All right, let's move on to the big news of the world today.
A little bigger than what I've been talking
International, national, and, of course, local, as we always do. Kath, please give us the top 4 at 4.
For Tuesday, February 7th, 2023, number 1. The man accused of killing a McKeesport police officer and wounding another yesterday was said to be experiencing PTSD and told witnesses just moments before the shooting that the police were trying to kill him and asked them to record his interaction with them. I'm reading here from the Trib that the witnesses did and captured the shooting of Officers Sean Slagansky and Chuck Thomas on video, according to a criminal complaint, which was filed late yesterday. The police have charged a man whose name I'm not going to give out with homicide, aggravated assault, assault of a law enforcement officer, and 2 counts of attempted homicide. Slagansky, 32, who had worked for the McKeesport police for 2 years full-time, was killed. Thomas suffered gunshot wounds to the face, neck, and hand.
Officer Slagansky, he's a father of young children.
Yeah.
It's a heartbreak.
It really is.
It truly is.
According to law enforcement sources, Morris's mother, I said I wasn't going to say the guy's name and then I did. The shooter's mother, Candace Tyler, worked as a McKeesport police officer from 2005 through 2021 when she was fired. Number 2. Turkish President Erdogan declared a 3-month state of emergency today, John, in southern areas of his country that were hit by 2 incredibly powerful earthquakes. The death toll in Turkey and Syria has passed 6,200, with thousands more injured, rescue teams racing to reach people buried under buildings. A senior WHO official said this afternoon, John, the death toll could rise to more than 20,000 people. Wow. So there's a lot to pray for if you're the praying type, because there are people who are still survivors that are buried. There are a lot of people in mourning, and a snowstorm over much of Turkey is affecting the efforts of authorities to get to people.
So the cold temperatures are playing a role in this and people's survival.
Yeah. Number 3. The Department of Defense, John, has revealed the size of the Chinese spy balloon.
Oh,
did you see this?
Yes.
In case you're not following along,
big.
The U.S. shot the spy balloon down over the weekend. It turns out that the balloon, bigger than the Statue of Liberty, about 200 feet tall. The balloon was carrying surveillance equipment the size of 2 to 3 school buses. Wow. Yep. And the debris field that was left behind was 4,900 feet by 4,900 feet, which is more than 15 football fields by 15 football fields.
Holy smokes.
So the payload of the piece of equipment, the size of a jet airliner. Now, China is still claiming the balloon was a weather device and that we in America have overreacted to it.
Of course.
At number 4, a survey of the 10 of the largest cities in the country found that office occupancy at its highest level since the start of COVID.
Really?
According to The Hill today, a survey from the security company Castle Systems found that the average occupancy rate of offices in the 10 cities was 50.4% on January 25th, the first time it's been more than 50% since March of 2020, and that is your top 4 at 4.
Survey says.
So they took into account San Jose, Austin, San Francisco, D.C., Dallas, L.A., Houston, New York, Chicago, and Philadelphia. So that's a pretty good, Pittsburgh, but that's a pretty good cross-section, I think, of the country.
Yeah, but I wonder what it is here locally.
Well, I can't believe it's that high here.
I can't either. I mean, downtown, they're already talking about turning unused office space into apartments downtown.
Well, that would be great if you could afford to live down there.
Well, hopefully,
are there enough people who can afford the kind of rents that they're charging downtown?
If you could make it across all income spectrums, right? 20% for
Have you
low.
Seen that?
No.
Although
when they do build, they do require just a tiny percentage for low income. So maybe like 100 units, maybe 5 of them are for low income people. But just make it affordable for everyone. Heck, it's better than nothing, which is what you're getting now, isn't it?
Yeah, because all that stuff is just sitting there empty.
What if you had an apartment upstairs?
I would die.
Right?
Thank you for asking.
Just walk on down,
I mean, I'm happy to come to work, but I would not be happy to live here.
You could have like a little bat pole. Just fly down here.
Sure.
An escalator. Something like that.
You know how you feel like when you have a cell phone that people from work can reach you anytime? Can you imagine if you lived upstairs?
Kenny, our morning guy, Kenny Woods, he moved years ago from his place to here in Greentree. For a long time, he refused to let anybody know where he lived because he was
Can you blame the guy?
Don't call me at 3 a.m.
Right, I don't
want to hear
know.
it. Do not call me.
We're taking a break. When we come back, the Reverend Terry Timm is with us. This is the topic, slowing down to speed up, why practicing Sabbath is still relevant. We'll talk about it next on The Ride Home.
101.5 WORD.
You're listening now, so we know you're a fan of the radio station.
I am a big fan.
And we want you to know that we appreciate you.
I'm your number one fan.
That's why we've developed the Word FM Fan Club. It's free to join, and once you do, you can take part in exclusive surveys and contests.
Yeah, I love contests.
Special offers.
Great giveaways.
Discounts. Freebies.
I'd like to win one of these contests.
Become a member today. Go to wordfm.com/fan club and sign up.
We're big fans.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 844-47-BIBLE. That's 844-47-BIBLE. 844-47-BIBLE.
Treat your someone special to an unexpectedly special Valentine's Day with a gift from Trinity Jewelers. From their beautiful crosses, diamond, pearl, and gemstone collections, Mark Halgerman and the custom jewelry experts at Trinity Jewelers will help you find or create the perfect gift to express exactly how you feel. Visit trinityjewelers.com today or find them aboard the Gateway Clipper at the Word FM Valentine Date Night, February 10th. Trinity Jewelers, your trusted custom jeweler for over 50 years.
Parents are extremely important part of their child's education.
Cara Bell, principal at Jubilee Christian School in Mount Lebanon.
We try to partner with parents and try to instill values that the parents want as well. We love to have parents come in and volunteer for activities, for recess, for lunch, to help out in the classrooms. Field experiences once a month. We try to team so that we can meet the child's needs.
Imagine, Believe, Achieve. Jubilee Christian School, K through 8th grade. Now enrolling for the fall at jubileecs.org.
Bachman's Roofing and Solar is your local award-winning roofer. Stop waiting. It's time to inspect your roof and protect your home's #1 asset. With no interest and no payment financing for 12 months, Bachman's Roofing is your easy choice for roofing, gutters, and solar. Did you know Bachman's Roofing is one of the #1 GAF solar integrated roofing installers in the USA? Go with Bachman's. Go with solar and install the roof that pays for itself. Call 412-744-8390 or visit bachmansroofing.com.
This Friday, only days away, as John just said, is our Valentine Cruise, Word FM. John and I are your hosts, and for the, 14th year in a row, we are spending Valentine's Day with one another instead of our spouses. Just tragic.
You just kind of expect it.
It's tragic. We would love for you to be there. You can buy tickets at wordfm.com, and the reason you can still buy tickets is because we had the smaller boat at first. Then they moved us to the bigger boat, and now we have more space.
Right.
So I don't know. Last I heard, I think we have 40 tickets left. Is it 40?
I don't know.
Or something like that. Anyway, we would love for you to be with us on Friday night. It's not going to be that cold.
No, it's going to be nice.
I thought I was going to have to wear like a balaclava and my, Doc Marten high tops, but I might not have to.
Well, yeah, you might want to keep them in reserve.
Yeah, okay.
Because it'll be windy out there, too.
It is going to be windy.
Right?
Anyway, we'd love to have you join us. So buy your tickets right now, wordfm.com.
All right. All that to say that Timm is with us. Terry's a regular guest on our show. He's the pastor at Christ Community Church of the South Hills. Hey, Terry. Happy Valentine's Day to you.
It's good to see you, John and Kath.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, I think you're going to need a bigger boat. That's all I've got to say.
Do you think so? Okay.
I think that's a good thing.
I don't know if there's a third bigger boat.
No.
I think that we might be at the biggest boat at this point.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm excited. Now, we've never celebrated Valentine's Day with you, Ter. I don't think. The two of us, John and I.
That has not happened.
He doesn't sound like he wants to.
Come on down with us.
John.
Get on that boat with us, Ter.
I don't understand.
Bring the missus.
I don't know. My wife and I, we I don't know. We've been married a long time, so Valentine's every day is Valentine's.
Oh, that's so sweet how he said it.
That's a good. So if you don't, we don't make a big deal. Although I tend to buy flowers. I like flowers on Valentine's Day. Do you?
Yeah, sure. I just got flowers for my husband last night.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
For what?
He was sad I was sick over the weekend because I lost my whole weekend, and
Although if you buy the Valentine's Day flowers now, you beat the price increase.
Oh,
maybe that's what he was doing.
Well, he is a smart man.
Yes, he is.
I'm a big fan. This is a Trader Joe's plug. Like, they have the best flowers.
Don't they?
Oh, my gosh. And the price is right.
Exactly.
And they also have nice house plants. That whole plant the whole botany section when you first walk in.
I'm sorry to hear you say that, Terry, because I always thought it was like my own secret. Now everybody knows.
Here it is, Alex. We'll get that royalty check from Trader Joe's. You can send it right directly to us.
That's very nice.
All right. So speaking of Valentine's Day and relationships, when my husband and I got married, Terry, he told me that it was important that we observe the Sabbath. Now, I'd been a Christian, most of my life. And so I was like, well, we go to church on Sunday. Like, that's what and he's like, no. I think we should actually observe the Sabbath. And I was shocked and a little maybe a little annoyed because I kind of felt like I knew what the Sabbath was. And of course I didn't at that time. But that's the first time anyone had ever really challenged me on what I did on the Sabbath and what it looked like. All these years later, I can say that in myriad ways that has saved my life. So tell me why you're thinking about Sabbath and if you have a similar story.
Sabbath is a command. I mean, I think a lot of followers of Jesus think Sabbath is an invitation to a healthier lifestyle, or it's a better way to live. It's a way to be refreshed and renewed, which is all true. But ultimately, Sabbath is actually one of the 10 commandments. And I think it's really important to remember that the commands of God are not just given to box us in, but to actually provide life to us. And God's intention is for his people to thrive and flourish. And Sabbath is one of those ways that we can experience the abundance of life that God has in mind for each of us and all of us. But it's counterintuitive. I think, Kathy, you're so true. I think for a lot of us, we think maybe Sabbath is we're going to go to worship. We'll worship God on Sunday morning, and then we're good to go. And we have the rest of the day to do whatever we choose. And quite frankly, Sabbath is it's a countercultural kind of practice and ritual. And I'm a pretty aggressive, achieving kind of guy. And one of the things that the Lord has been teaching me is that I need to slow down. That life, God didn't create us as human doings, but that ultimately we actually are human beings. And Sabbath is an opportunity for me and for all of us to live into our identity, first and foremost, as a being, a man, a woman, created in the image and likeness of God, and allow all of our life to emerge from that sense of identity rather than something else that the culture might attach to us, or we might attach to some other cultural identity piece.
Mm-hmm. So, Terry, what does Sabbath look like? Maybe just for you. I mean, obviously you're a pastor, so it includes worship, but maybe your Sabbath is different than Kath and mine because you're working. Kath's a worship leader. She's working on Sunday as well. So do you have a Saturday or is it a Monday Sabbath? And does that include no work, no cutting the grass, no sort of running around doing chores, no iPhone, no television? What are the particulars of it all?
That's a great question, John. And I think for many of us, we wish that there was just this list that dropped out of heaven that had exactly what you can do and can't do on the Sabbath. Like, that would be so much easier, right? If God just gave us clear directives. But it's not like that. I think practicing Sabbath, and that's a theme that our congregation is living around as we begin this new year. What does it look like to practice Sabbath? Because practice doesn't make perfect, but practice makes progress and practice makes better. So what I'm doing, I'm trying to practice some new rhythms, some new habits, some new rituals that, again, help me slow down to be the person that God wants me to be. You're right. As a pastor, I work on Sunday.
Sure.
Part of my day is work. But one of the things that I've been doing this year is trying to see actually my work on Sundays, leading of the congregation, as part of my Sabbath expression. So typically for me, I've been practicing Sabbath from noon on Sunday to noon on Monday. Yeah, kind of bracketing a 24-hour period when I get away from my work as a pastor. And one of the things that God's invited me just to think about is like, see your work as worship and your worship as work, and begin to embed that into your actual practice of Sabbath. Yes, I'm showing up to my congregation in a sense in a work role, but I've been working on an attitude and a mind shift to say, even though this is work, this really is embedded into my Sabbath practice and offering my work up to the Lord as worship. And it's really interesting in the Old Testament, there's a Hebrew word, my favorite Hebrew word, avodah, and it has multiple meanings, which is helping me. It can mean serve, it can mean work, and it can mean worship. And so I'm trying to see my service, my work, and my worship all wrapped up as part of my practice of Sabbath. But I am, I'm downshifting. I'm doing some things differently so that I can spend more time being rather than doing. And I don't know what that looks like for you, Kath, but it's a constant challenge for me as somebody who works in the church. Mm-hmm. But part of it is a mental reframing for me before the Lord.
Yeah. I think that probably, I mean, you don't need me to bless your practice. You know what I mean? Like but I do the same thing you do. I'm like a 1 p.m. on Sunday to a 1 p.m. on Monday. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, I know what you're saying about, or I don't know what you're saying, but I can appreciate, I think, what you're saying about looking at your preaching and your leading of the congregation as part of your Sabbath. But for me, it's still like I need to delineate it more for me to keep myself healthy. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that means that, I don't know what that means. But so from the time I get home after worship, that's to me when I have to kick it in. And maybe a lot of that had to do with the fact that all the years that my kids were little, we were doing the Sabbath practice, and it was very important to them that I did not do any work at all. I did not do anything related to either of my jobs on that day. And of course they didn't know what I was doing on Monday morning, but that on Sunday was really important to them.
Well, one of the things, John, you asked, like, what can you do versus what can't you do on the Sabbath? And people may laugh, but my wife will testify to this. Like, one of my core convictions in life is to avoid manual labor. Like, I just don't want to do manual labor.
Yeah.
I work with my head, I work with my heart, I do relational work, creative work. Oh. But so honestly, and again, there may be some strict legalists out there that hammer me for this, but one of the things that I do enjoy doing on a fall day is raking leaves on a Sunday afternoon. Mm. Like, that's work. There's a physical exertion, but it's not work that's part of my work life. Yeah. It is totally disconnected. And I actually find like the pattern and the rhythm of raking leaves, being outside, engaging my body in a different way, be incredibly life-giving. So one of the things I'd encourage listeners to think about is, does this activity that I'm participating in on a Sabbath, does it honor the spirit of the Sabbath, or does it violate the spirit of the Sabbath? Again, remember, Jesus said, man wasn't created for the Sabbath. Humanity wasn't created for Sabbath, but Sabbath was created by God as a gift to humanity. So it ought to be life-giving, not restrictive and life diminishing. So for me, one of the things that I've been exploring and helping my congregation, what gives you life? Where do you delight? How do you find joy and revel in the goodness of God on your Sabbath experience? Because that's the invitation. God says, enjoy my goodness, taste and see how good I am. And I want you to really live into that. You grind all week long. We live in a grind culture. And this Sabbath is an opportunity to feast, to delight, to celebrate in the goodness of God wherever we can find it. I really think that's God's heart for us.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah. We're talking to the Reverend Timm from Christ Community Church of the South Hills. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Terry. You can watch it happen on Zoom. You can find us on YouTube at The Word Pittsburgh. Be right back.
This is Kathy Emmons. John and I are grateful for the encouragement we have from all of our advertisers, and especially our friends at Grove City College. Thanks to everyone at Grove City for supporting the ride home.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any better, Mike Lindell with MyPillow is launching the MyPillow 2.0. When Mike invented MyPillow, it had everything you could ever want in a pillow. Now, nearly 20 years later, he's discovered a new technology that makes it even better. The MyPillow 2.0 has the patented adjustable fill of the original MyPillow, and now has a brand new fabric that is made with a temperature-regulating thread. The MyPillow 2.0 is the softest, smoothest, coolest pillow you'll ever own. Hey, this is John Hall. For my exclusive listeners, the MyPillow 2.0 is buy one, get one free with promo code WORD. MyPillow 2.0 temperature-regulating technology is 100% made in the USA and comes with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. Just go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener square to the buy one, get one free offer. Just when you thought MyPillow couldn't get any better, MyPillow 2.0 gives you the best pillow ever. Enter promo code WORD or call 800-391-0954 to get your MyPillow 2.0s now.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month.
SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, go to SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Discover the magnificence of the Mediterranean with Alistair Begg and our trusted partner, Inspiration Cruises and Tours. 9 life-changing days of powerful worship, Bible study, and history. Sign up now, deeperfaithcruise.com.
This is Tim Seckler inviting you to tune in each and every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. right here on Word FM 101.5 for the Life and Legacy Show, sponsored by my law firm, the Seckler Law Firm. Each week, we'll talk about your family's well-being as it relates to elder law, nursing home stays, estate planning, and keeping your hard-earned savings. And if you missed the Life and Legacy Show, you will find it archived at SecklerLawFirm.com. See you Saturday morning at 9 a.m. right here on Word FM 101.5 for the Life and Legacy Show.
Listen on your smart speaker at wordfm.com, the Word FM app, iHeart, TuneIn, and on Odyssey. In your car or at home, too, at 101.5 WORD-FM, Pittsburgh.
I can't believe he found them.
He seems sorry.
We very clearly told him not to look up there.
I'm honestly impressed that he was able to do it.
Right? What, did he balance on that big chair? Or...
Yeah, I mean, I guess he'll just know what his gifts are this year.
I really thought we had hidden them well.
If they can find their presents, they can find a gun.
911, what is your emergency?
Every day, 8 kids and teens are unintentionally killed or injured by loaded and unlocked guns. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and End Family Fire.
We'll see occasional rain and drizzle this evening. Otherwise, cloudy skies tonight with a low of 33. Variable clouds tomorrow. Tomorrow's high 47. Considerable cloudiness tomorrow night with a bit of rain late. The low 37. Increasingly windy Thursday with periods of rain. Temperatures approaching the record last reached in 2001. Will reach a high Thursday of 63. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Drew Shannon.
Terry Timm is with us. Pastor Timm is the pastor at Christ Community Church of the South Hills.
Pastor Timm.
Yeah.
Never heard him called Pastor Timm,
Pastor
but
Timm.
That sounded awfully formal. I liked it.
Pastor Timm.
So on a weekly basis, Terry, on our weekend review, John and I talk about stuff we've been watching, the stuff we've been reading, the stuff we've been listening to. And I realized that we've never asked you those things. And so, we'll do that on Friday, but we want to know what you're doing.
But before you joined us, you're on Zoom.
And we were looking at
your bookcase. And I'm doing this. What's going on there?
Yeah, what's
going on there?
Yeah, you can't get a real close look. Although a couple of these things, you probably can see this one right
The Surrender,
here.
the Bono book. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm actually not reading that, but I'm listening to that on audiobook.
So is Kat.
I am too.
I'm not an audiobook guy. In fact, I don't like audiobooks at all, but this book is captivating me. I mean, Bono is an amazing storyteller, and to listen to him tell these stories along with the kind of the special effects and some of the music that's a part of this, it's more than listening to a book. It really, truly is an experience. And
okay, where are you in the book?
I have about 4 more hours to go.
Okay.
I just got done with the kind of miracle drug section where Bono was talking about his work around the HIV/AIDS stuff in Africa. So yeah, I've got about 4. It's long.
It's very long. It's very long.
I listen to it when I have a rowing machine right here to my left, and when I row, I listen to it, and so that gets me through the torture of exercise. So.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of liking it, and I actually have next up in the audiobook, I'm going to listen to Michelle Obama's latest book. I'm just kind of curious to see what she has to say and listen to her voice read that book. So
interesting.
That's next up in the queue. I read so much technical stuff.
Like
like my latest thing, I'm exploring something that's called internal family systems.
Oh yeah.
Which is a particular approach to therapeutic work. And so I'm reading a book called Boundaries for Your Soul, which is kind of a mashup of some of the work that John Townsend and Henry Cloud have done around boundaries, and then the work of internal family systems from Richard Schwartz. So that's more technical, personal. But one of the things that over the last couple of years I've been spending more time is just reading poetry.
Really?
Yeah, and I found one of my favorite poets is a guy by the name of Padraig O'Tuama, who's a guy from Ireland. He's probably in his late 40s, and he's written some amazing poetry, but he also curates poetry, and he has a book that came out that's entitled 50 Poems to Open Your World. 50 Poems to Open Your World, and it's a collection of 50 poems. And he in the book, the poems are printed, and then he does a 2 or 3 page reflection on that poem, helping kind of understand the perspective of the poet and opening up some questions about what the poet might have been alluding to or writing about. And this is new space for me, again, because much of my reading is technical, it's theological, it's leadership, it's systems, organization kinds of things. So slowing down, reading poetry, using a different part of my brain has been a really helpful practice to me in this season of life.
Fabulous.
And it's a great book. You can pick it up. Each chapter is maybe 5 or 6 pages. You can read it in 10 minutes, but you'll end up reflecting on those poems much longer than you take reading them.
Excellent. What about music? We just went through the Grammys, and I kind of go, I probably don't know 90% of the people who won a Grammy this year. Any interest? When you turn on your Spotify or wherever your music is there some place you go to that you go, this is my home base?
Well, that's a great question. I struggle with music. I didn't even watch the Grammys. I don't know what happened. One thing, we unplugged our cable TV a month ago, so we're in a new season.
So that's what happened.
Don't have access to network television right now, which is a little different space. One of the things I do though, almost every night before I go to sleep, I watch some music videos on YouTube. And it could be, I'm a big John Mayer fan, so I like to watch a lot of John Mayer, particularly his acoustic stuff when he's just playing by himself. And actually, I've got tickets. He's coming in March, so going to see his acoustic show at PPG. But then I kind of just follow the stream of kind of where some of the suggestions kind of go. Watch some Adele. I came across a Keith. I'm not a Keith Urban fan necessarily, but I found a version. Keith Urban did a cover of one of the Adele songs, and I'm like, wow, this guy is really, really talented.
Really? Do you remember what song it was, Tara? That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's her latest one, and
it's the one she won the Grammy for, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he told a little story. He did a live version of it. The person who co-wrote that with Adele is Keith Urban's co-writer. So
okay.
There's a little relational connection. One of the artists that you may not know of, and your listeners may not know of, that I really appreciate is an artist called Sleeping at Last. Sleeping at Last. It's not a band. It's one guy, Ryan Stevenson, but he goes by Sleeping at Last. He's similar to Five for Fighting, if you know that band. Five for Fighting. It's one guy.
Like The Weeknd.
Like The Weeknd, exactly. You expect the whole band, and it's one guy. But Sleeping at Last, he does some really beautiful sonic stuff. He did a whole collection of songs around the Enneagram, the 9 different personality types around the Enneagram. He's done things around seasons. He writes projects around themes. He did a thing on the solar system. It's beautiful music, particularly at the end of the day, if you kind of want to wind down and just enjoy a nice sonic blanket, so to speak, over your life.
Fabulous. Good.
All right. And what about watching? I know you unplugged your cable, but are you streaming anything?
So I found something on Amazon. It's a show called Luna and Sophie. Right. You don't know what this is?
No, huh?
It's a modern day German version. It's in German, subtitled, of Cagney and Lacey. How many of you old enough to remember Cagney and Lacey,
Yeah, of
right?
course, yeah.
And I kind of like it because it's light. I mean, it's light. They deal with the murder every episode, but it's one of those shows where each episode is self-contained. In 44 minutes, there's a mystery, and they and their team, they work it, they solve it, and by the end of the thing, it's all wrapped up in a nice bow.
Nice.
And it's kind of fun because, so many shows right now on television, you got to track through episode after episode.
Right.
Year after year. I did finish in the beginning of the year Breaking Bad. I did do all 5 seasons of Breaking Bad, and that's a heavy lift. But Luna and Sophia is pretty light. And last night, it's interesting you mentioned this. I watched the first episode of Shrinking.
Oh yeah, I watched it too.
I don't know. What did you think of it, Kath?
You know what? I've seen 3 episodes, actually. At the beginning, I wasn't sure what I thought. By the 3rd episode, I really love it. There's something so unhinged about his attempt to deal with his grieving that is just really, it makes me laugh. And it's just so, I don't know, I feel healthy after I watched it.
Wait, this is an Apple show, right?
This is the Harrison Ford show, Jason Segel. Yeah.
Freaks and Geeks.
Right.
And as a pastor and a coach, I mean, I identify with that kind of non-directive space. And sometimes I just want to yell at people and tell them what to do. It's not very pastoral, so
I don't have time for this. Here's the answer.
Exactly. Yeah. But so I identify with him. So I'm kind of curious to see where that the rest of that series goes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Shrinking.
That's good. Well, terrific to talk to you
Tara,
and catch up, Tara.
Nice to catch up. Yeah.
Good to see you. I haven't seen you for a while, Kath. The last couple of times, I think John and I.
I'm trying to take my vacation, just exactly when you're scheduled to be here. No, it's not true. It's an accident. Tara, I love you.
Thanks, Tara.
Great to see you.
You as well. Take care. Terry Timm, Christ Community Church of the South Hills.
101.5 WORD.
There are three ways of dealing with the Bible, especially when you come to a passage that you don't quite agree with or understand. The first tactic is to pick and choose what you want to believe. The second is to remain ignorant of what the Bible has to say at all. The third is to dig into the Word and try to understand all of it, whether or not you like what it has to say. Well, if you fall into that last category or would like to, please join us this week on Through the Bible Radio.
This evening at 9 p.m. on 101.5 WORD.
What if I told you you can save a baby's life for just $28? Well, it's true. Preborn is a ministry doing just that with the help of people like you by offering free ultrasound sessions to pregnant girls and women who otherwise might choose to end their pregnancy. We know that pregnant girls and women who can see their babies on ultrasound are far more likely to choose life. Your gift today can save babies' lives. Just $28 can give a mother the chance to see the truth of the baby that is growing inside her. $140 can do this for 5 girls and women. Whether you want to save one baby or 5 or hundreds, that opportunity is just a click or phone call away. Call 833-850-BABY. That's 833-850-2229. Or you can do it safe and secure online by clicking on the Preborn banner at wordfm.com.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. The IRS just rolled out a new program to help struggling taxpayers more easily resolve their tax problems. It's called the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, and it opens up powerful new options for people looking to get back on the right track with the IRS. And no one knows this program like the professionals at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution company. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients and have the expertise and experience to help you. One easy call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries of wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Make today the beginning of your fresh start with the IRS. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief now for your free confidential consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Train up a child in the way they should go. Well, you know the rest. It's a calling you take very seriously as a Christian parent. And Trinity Christian School in Forest Hills seeks to honor your commitment by working together with parents to prepare students who are academically sound and spiritually ready to take their place in the world through a classical approach to education that helps build a faith from which they will never depart. Trinity Christian School, one of the top K-12 schools in Allegheny County at trinitychristian.net.
18% of U.S. adults use some type of sleep medication.
Wow.
18%.
Wow. That's like 1 in 5 people are using sleep medication.
Age, gender, income, ethnicity all play a role in how frequently adults use sleep medication. As family income increased, sleep medication use decreased, the CDC found.
Wait, say that again. As what?
As family income increased, sleep medication use decreased. Women were more likely than men to use a type of sleep medication, and older adults were more likely than younger adults to rely on a form of sleep medication. A little over 10% of women versus 6.6% of men report using a sleep medication within a month period. 6% of adults between the ages of 18 and 44 said they use a type of sleep medication. And more than 10% of adults, 45 to 64, said they used it. Meanwhile, 12% of adults, 65 or older, say they use a sleep medication. Well, I can understand that.
Why?
Because you wake up.
Yeah.
I mean, I wake up. I wake up
3 times a night.
You wake up 3 times a night?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Ever since I had a baby.
Well, you have to make a
my
trip
first
to the,
baby.
To the bathroom.
Yep. I've never slept through. I've probably slept through the night twice since I had my first baby.
Oh my! How quickly are you able to go back to sleep?
It's not bad. I mean, I'm so used to it.
Yeah.
It's fine. It doesn't bother me.
It doesn't bother you at all?
No.
Well, this is a newer thing for me that generally I would sleep through the night. Lately, I'm up. 4 o'clock.
Don't look at the clock.
Well, you know.
No, you don't have to. You'd be. How does it help you to know what time it is?
It really doesn't. Well, it does help me in a way, because if it's 4 o'clock, I go, oh. If it's 6 o'clock, I go, okay, not bad. Like I just need a little bit more, and I'll be okay.
But is what you feel at 4 o'clock worth it? I mean, if you just set your alarm, say you're going to get up at 7 o'clock, you just set your alarm. You don't have to know what time it is. So maybe it's 6 o'clock, and you could get another hour of sleep. But if you know it's 6 o'clock, you're going to be like, oh, I might as well get up. You know what I mean? Like you don't need to know.
Right. But I could understand.
I'm just telling you what my therapist told me and what I've.
But could you understand why people use medication? I mean, I understand that.
Are you kidding me? Yes.
Yeah.
I have really tried to resist that, though, because I know myself and I feel like I would get dependent on that.
That's my next question. My thought is, how dependent, like once you're into it.
How do you get out of it?
That's exactly the problem.
That's the only reason why I have not gotten into it.
Because I would love to go, boom, crush me for, give me 9 hours.
Are you kidding me?
Wouldn't that be incredible?
That would be, if you could take something at 9 o'clock and say you could be asleep, I don't know, by 11 or what, I don't know I don't know how fast those things work. Oh, is it quick?
I'm sure within a half an hour or 40 minutes at the most.
I mean, then that would be wonderful. But I really don't think that's good for you to get dependent. I mean, I had so many sleep issues when I was being treated for my postpartum anxiety disorder. I had so many sleep problems that I spent a lot of therapy time working out
sleep issues,
a lot of it. And one of the things my therapist told me, I have always appreciated that. She said, your body wants to sleep. Mm-hmm. So it's not like you need to make it sleep. I mean, in some instances, yes. But on a regular basis, you want to do things to let your body do what it already wants to do.
Sure.
So that's kind of the way I've looked at it since then.
But I do believe that, and I don't know, but I would imagine that the generation of sleep aids are much safer than they were in the past.
I would think they would be, but I don't know about that. I don't know.
Well,
even if I heard that they were safe, I'll tell you, I still wouldn't do it.
This is one of those things. Tell me you're old without telling me you're old. Take Somanex tonight and sleep. Safe and restful sleep.
That would be right after the Doan's pills ad.
Right. I mean, I would imagine sleep medication in the 60s, 70s. Yeah. I would hope.
But those Ambien nightmare stories.
Oh, that's scary.
Doesn't that, like, the poor
was that Roseanne Barr?
The poor flight attendants that have to deal with people who
are crazy people,
or get on a transatlantic flight and take an Ambien and then become insane.
Yeah. Well, I remember the first time I was on a transatlantic flight and I was with some people and they were like, "Are you taking something?" And I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" And they go, "Oh, we're all taking something." And I was like, "No, I'm not."
Where were you go? You were in the Pacific or going across the Atlantic?
We were going to Asia.
Okay.
And I'm like, "No, I'm not going to do that." And boom, in short order, they were all out. And I was like, wide awake. I remember being in a yurt. I was in a yurt, and I was like tipping over.
In Mongolia?
Yeah, I was falling over. I was like delirious because I needed sleep so bad, and they were all mocking me. Next trip, I was with those guys. I was like, give me what you have. Sign me up.
Yeah, and did it work?
Oh, yeah, like a charm. Because, you're traveling and you're all, traveling across time zones.
Seriously,
you're all upside down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so when
Knock me out.
Okay, so when I went to the Far East, I was, I'm 18 hours in a plane, and then you get out, and then I had another 9 to go.
What are you doing? Where am I?
On the second jog, and I still didn't take anything because the thought of waking up and being groggy, feeling drugged, I can't stand that.
Right.
I hate that feeling. So I didn't want to be waking up in Tokyo, like not being able to figure out what gate I'm going to.
Right. All to say, I do believe that what's available now, the Ambien, that's a whole other story. But over-the-counter stuff, if you went to your pharmacy, I think you've got a lot to choose from. What's that, what's the brand of like the NyQuil thing? I've seen that.
Oh, okay.
The Z thing or something. Lex, you ever do this? You ever take anything?
Yeah, Z-Quil is what it's called.
Z-Quil.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's like NyQuil, which has the cold and flu thing, but this is just specifically for sleep.
Yeah, they put everything to because the main thing about NyQuil is that it just has medicine in it along with everything else that makes you fall asleep.
Right.
But when it comes to ZQuil, it takes the medicine out, so it's just like the sleepy time stuff.
Have you tried that?
Oh, it's amazing. I love taking me some ZQuil. I have to make sure I don't have to wake up early the next day because I'll sleep for I already normally sleep about 9 or 10 hours a night.
Straight without getting up? Yeah.
But it hurts my body. But if I take NyQuil or ZQuil, I need that sleep. So I'll sleep for 12 hours, straight through if I take it. So I have to make sure I don't have anything in the morning.
Wow.
Or I have to go to bed at 8 p.m. just to be safe.
Yeah, that's nice.
Just keep this in mind. You are living your best life.
You are. You really are.
Enjoy the heck out of it.
12 hours of sleep?
Oh, my God.
Easy.
That's delicious.
All right. When we come back, scientists launching a project to bring the dodo back. Good idea or bad idea?
The dodo bird.
We'll talk about it next.
In 1966, Time magazine asked, "Is God dead?" Now best-selling author Eric Metaxas takes that famous question and turns it around when he asks, "Is atheism dead?" In his bestseller titled, "Is Atheism Dead?" Metaxas offers a provocative answer as he shows atheism to be not only implausible and intellectually sloppy, but also demonstrably ridiculous. Get your copy of Is Atheism Dead? Available now at Amazon.com and wherever books are sold.
Word FM listeners, in this year radio commercial, I'm going to show you how the famous quote, 2 birds, 1 stone, should actually be 4 birds, 1 stone. I can see you're on the edge of your seat, but let's at least give it a try. It's Ryan from United Faith Mortgage, and what we're seeing from families across the country is how 1 stone, the cash out refinance, is helping families 4 different ways. The cost of everything is currently crazy, which is spiking credit card debt, where interest rates are often 3 to 5 times higher than mortgage interest rates, which is why we're seeing family after family taking advantage of the fact that their home has skyrocketed in value and cashing out that newfound money to pay off the credit card monster, using leftovers on special purchases, setting a bit extra aside for future peace of mind, and the 4th positive is cleaning up debt improves your credit score, giving you better future options. If you're curious what a cash-out refinance would do for you, we are United Faith Mortgage.
United Mortgage Corp, Melville, New York. NMLS number 1330. Pennsylvania Department of Banking and Securities. Mortgage lender license 22672.
South Point Telecom specializes in electronic chimes for your church or community center. Replace or upgrade your existing bells with affordable, high-fidelity musical carillons. This is Don Hoder with 30 years experience at South Point Telecom with audio, video systems, office phones, and computer cabling. Phone me now for a quick, affordable price. 412-646-6262 or go to southpointtelecom.com.
Hey folks, listen, you have got to check out Up Faith and Family, the leading streaming service for uplifting entertainment. Enjoy some of the best movies, inspiring series, quality dramas, comedies, documentaries, and exclusive events. And it's all ad-free. With Up Faith and Family, you can stream uplifting family-friendly shows anytime, anywhere on your favorite device for only $5.99 a month. Visit upfaithandfamily.com/Salem and start your 14-day free trial today.
Trip to Europe. Visit all 30 Major League Baseball stadiums. Go skydiving. Okay, so you know what you want to do in retirement, but do you know how to get there? Tune into Your Retirement Blueprint with Kurt Kenotic and Ethan Lane of Accurate Solutions Group, Saturdays at 10 a.m. to get answers to your retirement planning questions. Plan today so you can do the things you've always dreamt about doing in retirement. Listen every Saturday morning at 10 to Your Retirement Blueprint with Accurate Solutions Group. Investment advisory services offered through ASG Investment Management, LLC.
When you say an animal is extinct, I think a lot of people would go back to when we were kids, the dodo bird is extinct.
Right, or the woolly mammoth.
Right. The dodo bird, an odd-looking flightless bird that lived on an island off the Indian Ocean until the late 17th century. And then the arrival of sailors brought with them species like rats and practices like hunting. They doomed the dodo, which showed no fear of humans, to extinction in just a few short decades.
Oh, that's sad.
But now a team of scientists want to bring back the dodo in a bold initiative that will incorporate advances in ancient DNA sequencing, gene editing technology, and synthetic biology. They hope the project will open up new techniques for bird conservation. So they found almost an intact dodo bird in Denmark, apparently, and they have completed the entire sequencing of the dodo bird.
The DNA sequencing.
Yep. The next step is to compare the genetic information with the dodo's closest birds, the relatives in the pigeon family, which the dodo bird is from, the living Nicobar pigeon, and the extinct Rodriguez solitaire, also a giant flightless pigeon that once lived on an island close to the dodo bird's home. However, there's work to be done. They have to adopt existing techniques involving primordial germ cells, and they're still a ways away from doing this. How do you feel about this?
Well, the first thing, based on your story, is it's some special kind of cruelty that there would be an animal that would have no fear of humans, and you would kill it. First of all, that's just absolutely rotten, and I despise that. But the second thing is, look, I've seen Jurassic Park. I've read the book. I read The Lost World. There's no good ending to this story.
Once you start,
Pandora's out of the box. I'm telling you.
They're not going to stop doing this.
The dodo's going to come back, and he's going to be so hacked off because he was so pliant the first time. He's going to start taking humans out.
Maybe so. The dodo bird will sit on the back of the giant buffalo, and they'll take on the world.
Mm-hmm. Right? And the woolly mammoth.
Oh, right. Bring it. Yeah, just desserts, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of cool, but it's a little kind of creepy as well.
Tim and Kathy Keller in the On Deck Circle.
Oh, the Kellers.
The
5 o'clock hour.
Ask Alexa to play the word Pittsburgh to hear us there. We're on your Google speaker too. Plus iHeart, TuneIn, and on Odyssey. 101.5 WORD FM, Pittsburgh.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Speaking with Salem Radio, former GOP Congressman J.D. Hayworth expects a partisan State of the Union speech by President Biden, but he's questioning whether many Americans will agree with it.
You're going to see a speech that may sound good to his most devoted partisans, but will be questioned very skeptically by most of the American people.
It will be the president's first speech to Congress since Republicans took control of the House in the midterm elections. The State of the Union at 9 p.m. Eastern. Germany, Denmark, and the Netherlands announcing plans to provide Ukraine with at least 100 refurbished Leopard 1 battle tanks. That move comes as Kyiv anticipates a new Russian offensive around the one-year anniversary of the invasion. The Dow is up 139 points, the S&P up 36. This is SRN News.
This message is for anyone looking for $500,000 to $1 million or more of affordable term life insurance. Even if you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or are taking anxiety meds. Here's an example. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe overweight with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost about $200 a month. We're Term Provider, experts in finding affordable term life insurance for those that may not be in perfect health. If you've had prostate cancer, heart conditions, high cholesterol, or are on prescription medications, you may still qualify for $500,000 to $1 million or more of affordable term life insurance. Get a quick quote right now by visiting termprovider.com. That's termprovider.com, or simply call Term Provider at 800-333-1750. If you're looking for term life insurance but have type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, or have other health issues, call Term Provider at 800-333-1750. That's 800-333-1750.
Late summer this year, you can join Alistair Begg on a fascinating Mediterranean cruise.
Our journey together will end in Venice, once home to some of the brightest Christian writers and theologians of history. Venice was the backdrop for faith-shaping ideas and serious conversations around the Scriptures. It's the perfect place for us to celebrate all that God has done and to rejoice in the new friends that we've made during our incredible Mediterranean cruise.
Join Alistair Begg for a once-in-a-lifetime Mediterranean cruise. Immerse yourself in the wonder of some of the world's most famous cathedrals, museums, and works of art. We'll be sailing on Norwegian Cruise Line's newest ship, the luxurious Viva. For details, log on to deeperfaithcruise.com. Then call 855-565-5519 to join. 855-565-5519. Inspiration Cruises and Tours is a trusted partner of Salem Media Group.
Bachman's Roofing and Solar is your local award-winning roofer. Stop waiting. It's time to inspect your roof and protect your home's #1 asset. With no interest and no payment financing for 12 months, Bachman's Roofing is your easy choice for roofing, gutters, and solar. Did you know Bachman's Roofing is one of the #1 GAF solar integrated roofing installers in the USA? Go with Bachman's. Go with solar and install the roof that pays for itself. Call 412-744-8390 or visit bachmansroofing.com.
Marketing your business is hard. It's so competitive, and getting new customers is as hard as keeping your existing ones. We know it because we're a local business too. So when it comes to marketing your business and getting new customers, we know how to do it. Our digital marketing firm, Salem Surround, is built to create customized solutions to your business. Not your competitors, just you. Reach out to us at salemsurround.com, and we'll work with you to create those solutions that will increase your business and bring you new customers. salemsurround.com.
We'll see occasional rain and drizzle this evening. Otherwise, cloudy skies tonight with a low of 33. Variable clouds tomorrow. Tomorrow's high 47. Considerable cloudiness tomorrow night with a bit of rain late. The low 37. Increasingly windy Thursday with periods of rain. Temperatures approaching the record last reached in 2001. Will reach a high Thursday of 63. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Drew Shannon.
Welcome to another edition of The Ride Home with John and Kathy, live from the Salem-Pittsburgh studios. And now here are your hosts, John Hall and Kathy Emmons.
Maybe the groundhog was wrong.
60-some on Thursday?
63 on Thursday.
All I can say to you is bring it.
Bring it. Yeah. Although this happens from time to time. When we have such a mild winter, it feels as though you haven't earned your spring.
Well...
Right?
First of all, I'm not going to look at it as what I've earned or have not earned when it comes to the weather. But I remember when we had a winter like this, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, you and I went to several Pirate games at the start of the season.
Yeah.
And we froze.
It's a long, cold
and we
spring.
were thinking that it was our penalty.
Right.
You know,
for enjoying the winter.
Right. So we had like a lame winter, a mild winter. And so therefore we had a cold, chilly, dissatisfying spring. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we could be looking forward to something like that, John.
You bring that up. All right. Of course, if you've been reading along the news, following the news over the weekend, there was a devastating, just a crushing earthquake in Turkey and Syria, 7.8 magnitude. In Turkey alone, 13,000 rescue personnel have been deployed, supplying 41,000 tents, 100,000 beds, 300,000 blankets. About 8,000 people have been rescued so far. I think the last I saw the death toll somewhere around 6,500, but of course that will continue to go up and up and up. And as often, and especially in poorer countries, the building code's pretty much non-existent. So when you do see,
it's horrible. They said that the buildings just landed like pancakes.
I've seen video of it. I mean, it's shocking. I mean, they're like a house of cards. It falls quickly and just across the area. I mean, entire neighborhoods just flattened in a matter of seconds. And we as believers, of course, we have skin in the game, right? I mean, the Christian population in Turkey is very, very small, but that's not what we should be about.
Right.
Not, just only worrying about the Christians, praying only for the Christians. I mean, the weird thing about it is the United States and Turkey, even though we are allies, we are disconnected allies. We're always kind of at odds with each other about NATO, the size of NATO.
Yeah, and the leadership of Turkey has been unreliable.
That's putting it mildly, right?
Yeah. And, its commitment to democracy.
Paper tiger.
Yeah, it just seems to have wavered. And so I think that the U.S. has long looked at it as an ally of democracy in the Islamic world, and now I'm not sure geopolitically how to even talk about that.
Right.
I'm just not educated enough to be able to make a statement.
Well, you do bring this up because, of course, whenever there are events like this, cataclysmic events, natural disasters primarily, where tens of thousands of people have been killed, the United States always, and our partners, and of course the local church with its huge muscle, and many Christian aid organizations, World Vision, Food for the Poor, all that, they're always first responders. So you kind of wonder, well, what other parts of the world, especially the Middle East, you're so close there, and the alliances are there. Hopefully they step up as well and lend and be a good neighbor, right? Lend a good hand.
And what about Syria? I mean, what's it going to be like to...
Well, the United States, they've offered limited assistance to Syria. Not necessarily, they can't rush in, of course, because of the geopolitical concerns. So very, very treading a line carefully. And not to say that there's... Look, it's always, the citizens, the poor people, the children, the old people. Yeah. And so who's going to care about politics at a time like this? Although there are barriers in place that politics still do matter. What can we do?
Yeah. Well, if you find an organization that's going to do relief work in Turkey, I would suggest looking into it. Doing your Charity Navigator search online, which is a website which will rate the efficiency of a charitable organization.
I mean, I've gotten appeals. I've gotten appeals from people that
I have not gotten any appeals.
Almost immediately I get an appeal from World Vision.
Okay.
That they're on the ground. And that's good.
Yeah.
Happily.
Yeah, so just find an organization that you feel like you can trust and then reach out with what you have.
Have you... I generally, of course, like a lot of people, I try not to be voyeuristic whenever there is,
No, I just can't. No.
But I had to see this because what's interesting to me is the length of this earthquake. Generally, earthquakes happen 10 seconds, 15 seconds. The video that I saw, it went on it felt like forever.
Really?
I mean, the ground shaking. It went on for 30, 40, 50 seconds or more. It was enormous, the shaking that went on.
Wow.
So the destruction is just, you see, the destruction is just incredibly brutal. And the people who are trained in search and rescue operations, God bless those men and women. Because, risking your lives going under tons of rubble to extract people very, very slowly. And, of course, as we said, the structures are not up to Western standards, so it's equally dangerous to wade into those structures as well, even after the fact.
Oh, my gosh.
So, of course, prayers for all those affected, all those families, all the old people, all the little babies, all those people, and imagine what reconstruction at some point of the individual lives and the societal infrastructure, how many, many years that will take and how quickly things change, right? We're secure in our lives until we're not, and seconds later, the world falls upon us.
After the break, Tim and Kathy Keller will join us in their monthly slot on our show. The question for today is American Christianity due for a revival? We'll see what Tim has to say, what Kath has to say. Please stay with us. So glad you're along. It's The Ride Home.
.5 WORD.
Okay, everybody in the car.
Where are we going, Daddy?
On an adventure.
Yay!
Adventures in Odyssey. It's not just a kid's show, it's a show the whole family can enjoy. Listen on this station.
Adventures in Odyssey, tonight at 8 on 101.5 Word FM, WORD.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-419-2387. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-419-2387. 800-419-2387. 800-419-2387.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any better, Mike Lindell with MyPillow is launching the MyPillow 2.0. When Mike invented MyPillow, it had everything you could ever want in a pillow. Now, nearly 20 years later, he's discovered a new technology that makes it even better. The MyPillow 2.0 has the patented adjustable fill of the original MyPillow and now has a brand new fabric that is made with a temperature-regulating thread. The MyPillow 2.0 is the softest, smoothest, coolest pillow you'll ever own. Hey, this is John Hall. For my exclusive listeners, the MyPillow 2.0 is buy one, get one free with promo code WORD. MyPillow 2.0 temperature-regulating technology is 100% made in the USA and comes with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. Just go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener square to the buy one, get one free offer. Just when you thought MyPillow couldn't get any better, MyPillow 2.0 gives you the best pillow ever. Enter promo code WORD or call 800-391-0954 to get your MyPillow 2.0s now.
Geneva College understands that you're passionate about your life's work. Through Geneva's graduate degree programs, you'll be equipped to fully pursue your faith life calling, excelling in your field, and moving forward for a purpose. In your studies and in your work, you'll be challenged to seek God's design in all things, integrating faith and life, aspiring, leading, and achieving your goals for all that you're created to be and do. You were made for this. Visit geneva.edu/graduate to learn more.
Tim and Kathy Keller are back with us. The Kellers, they started way back in New York City, where they founded Redeemer Presbyterian Church, 1989. Their three young sons as well, in a decidedly, you can imagine what it'd be like to start a church in New York, New York. Bestsellers for many, many years as well. Tim's newest book is called Forgive, Why Should I? How Can I? And I believe that we have, Tim, are you with us? We have Kath.
I think you got Kathy, but you haven't got Tim yet.
We're efforting for Tim. But Kath, how you doing?
Yeah. Oh, it's been a wild ride. We've had some adventures since the last time we talked to you.
Okay. Can you tell us about some of them, Kath?
Well, mainly they've been medical, and they've been adjunct to Tim's health issues. We were supposed to be talking to you in December, if I'm not remembering that wrong, and instead he was taken to the hospital with a bleeding ulcer, and they've been treating that for about 2 months and coming off of the meds for the ulcer so he can have a repeat endoscopic ultrasound. Has been a bumpy ride, and right now he's pretty much just eating clear liquids. And, that's just not fun for day after day. One day maybe, but not for day after day. So,
right. So Tim,
and he also had hand surgery on trigger finger, so the stitches on that came out. So these are all just little gadfly things on the periphery. But
right.
Sorry about this. Sorry about this organ recital.
Yeah, sorry about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So clear
when
liquids.
You're old, you ask how you're doing, and unfortunately, there's way too many things to tell.
Yeah, that's.
But we're doing fine, but would be happy to have people praying for all of these adjacent issues, because the big news is the last time we were down at the NIH, they looked at Tim and they said, "You have responded spectacularly to the immunotherapy." That was the word.
Isn't that
wonderful? Well, wait. There's a part B. 100% of the initial tumors have gone, but cancer is sneaky. We had identified a gene, and we had engineered the white blood cells to go after that genetic flag. And now they're cropping up tumors that don't have that genetic flag, so our white blood cells go right past it, don't notice. We're going to have to do the whole thing over again. So we're looking at another month down at the NIH while they do the whole thing all over again with a different set of cells looking for a different genetic marker. And we're just praying that Tim will be in good enough physical condition that they'll do it. But that's where all of this little niggly stuff is,
and when
maybe a little more serious.
When would that second trip down to the NIH happen?
Well, they're not giving us an actual date. It'll be sometime mid-March to mid-April, which makes it really hard to rent a place to stay when you don't know what your dates are. Looking at Airbnbs and that sort of thing, which we've never had to do in the past because there was a very generous woman lending her apartment to us, but she's going to actually be in it, so that won't work. But anyway, so Tim needs to have all these minor things behind him in the rearview mirror so that they don't interfere with going down for the new set of cells. And they said they really expect, because he responded so spectacularly the first time, they really expect this to be wonderful, that this will be a really wonderful response as well. So if anybody has any room on their prayer list, getting Tim down to that second set of cells and getting him through it and having them work would be the thing that we're praying for anyway.
Fabulous. We'll certainly put that on our prayer list and pray for Tim and Kathy. But Tim, at this point, and I'm sure Kath as well, you think about this a lot. Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired?
I'm actually, partly because I'm a little bit of a productivity junkie. I really have had to spiritually surrender. I always was a bit of a control freak of my schedule. I was very careful to make sure there weren't interruptions or, unlooked for events that got in the way of my deadlines and all that. Put it this way, I have given up on that. So on the one hand, yeah, I'm tired of being sick and going to doctors, but it was also a really good, God just led me to take my hands off my life and say, Lord, how much time I'm going to have to work and write and do things this month. And you're not going to give me less time than I need. And therefore, I just need to stop thinking that I'm not in charge of my schedule, So I feel like, that week I'm going to get a lot of work done, and suddenly, oh no, you're going for 2 days for this or that treatment. And so that's the sort of thing that has actually been good for me spiritually. So yeah, I'm emotionally kind of tired of it, sure, of course.
Yeah. And so, Kathy, you're the gatekeeper, of course, right? Has your due diligence had to increase over this continued illness that Tim is suffering through?
Yeah, absolutely. He scared us to death in December and gave everybody a case of PTSD, ride to the hospital in an ambulance and all the rest of that. So it's been, I tell, what echolocation is?
Yep.
It's what bats do.
Sure.
Beep, 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 to know, to get the radar back so they know where they are. We don't live in a very big apartment. We live in a really kind of small apartment by anybody's normal standards. I'll go through the house calling, Tim, and he'll say, what do you need? And I'll say, it's just echolocation. I'm just trying to find out where you are, and then you're still here. I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you talking. I didn't hear you moving. Just make a noise, so I know you're fine.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. That makes sense, right?
Oh, you guys.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the two-sided coin, Tim, because, you don't have the kind of writing output that you have had over these decades if you don't have your schedule as regimented as you've had it. But then at the same time, it can go too far. With all of us, it's hard to find a good balance there.
Yes, it is. Yes,
that may change soon. We're going to start mining some of Tim's leadership training things for, courses he's taught and.
Well, now you're opening. That's a long story.
That's a long story, and I'm not going to make it a long story. But we've been working on finding ways to get some of Tim's curriculum and his courses and things like that out there, and they're 9/10 written, so it could be a 2-book a year thing that's
John and Kathy, what she's
that's all.
talking about, what Kathy's talking about, my Kathy's talking about, is that what we're trying to do is I've been trying to do an inventory of all of my material. I've done a lot of teaching over the years. It's an awful lot of stuff in my files.
This is where your productivity has turned around and bitten you, because
over the years I have an awful lot of unpublished stuff. Unpublished stuff, and what I'm doing is I'm inventorying it so that I'm not the only person who knows where everything is.
Sure. And
who could actually pick a lot of this stuff up and get it out the door if I'm not in the best health or if I'm not here. Mm-hmm. So we're actually, in a way, trying to deal with that, with the fact that, my most productive years are behind me, but on the other hand, maybe it would be much better if it was more of a team effort anyway.
Right. Okay, now, you just released a book here, 2 months ago, but wait.
Yep, Forgive.
So you're saying, Kath, you're letting this out, this number, 57,000 documents. Those go back, to the 60s, Tim?
Actually, well, no. Those are electronic documents.
34 years whenever we started having computers. Those go back into the early 80s. They go back in the early 80s. I actually do have 1,500 sermons I wrote in Hopewell, Virginia, from 75 to 84, that are all they're handwritten, but they're here too. So anyway, I don't know. We'll see. I'm just trying to make sure that my heirs and my sons and all that know where everything is and where
things are in order,
where the stuff is.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, we just want to say out loud that we're happy you're here now, right? We don't need to just know you through your documents. We're glad to actually be talking to you. Yeah. Tim Keller's on the air with his wife, Kathy Keller. Tim's newest book is called Forgive, Why Should I and How Can I? You guys, I think what we'll do is we'll take a break now. And then when we come back, we want to talk to you both, particularly you, Tim, based on your Atlantic article, about American Christianity and if it's due for a revival, if it's possible, and if so, what would that look like? So stay close, you guys. We'll be right back.
Revival.
Reverse mortgages. Perceptually, those words were kind of bad words for a while. And still today, in many cases, it's not the perfect fit. But without a doubt, today's reverse mortgage program, now insured by the federal government, is night and day different from that of old. If you or someone you love is over the age of 62 and can't afford to retire, today's reverse mortgage program can be life-changing. This new option does not require you to give up ownership of your home, it will not leave your heirs with debt, and it can provide you with lifetime monthly payments from the value of your home, or even a cash-out option. At United Faith Mortgage, our commitment is to clearly lay out all the details for you or your parents' specific case, and then only take on cases where it's clearly obvious to everyone involved that this is a no-lose situation. If you're curious what it would look like for you or someone you love, we are United Faith Mortgage.
Call for free information on reverse loans. United Mortgage Corp, Melbourne, New York. NMLS number 1330. Pennsylvania Department of Banking and Securities. Mortgage lender license 22672.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief hotline now. Call 800-786-2300. 800-786-2300. That's 800-786-2300.
I think what excites them the most is that their children are happy.
Carabelle,
principal at Jubilee Christian School in Mount Lebanon.
When the children come into school, they love it. And oftentimes they're super excited when they leave because they don't want to leave. You know, it's always, bye, Mrs. Ball, see you tomorrow. I mean, they're just always happy. And I think that makes parents happy. You want to see your children have a passion for education. We want them to enjoy learning.
Imagine, believe, achieve. Jubilee Christian School, K through 8th grade. Now enrolling for the fall at jubileecs.org.
Discover the magnificence of the Mediterranean with Alistair Begg and our trusted partner, Inspiration Cruises and Tours. 9 life-changing days of powerful worship, Bible study, and history. Sign up now. deeperfaithcruise.com.
We are everywhere on your radio at 101.5 WORD FM Pittsburgh, at wordfm.com, the Word FM mobile app, iHeart, TuneIn, and Odyssey.
We'll see occasional rain and drizzle this evening. Otherwise, cloudy skies tonight with a low of 33. Variable clouds tomorrow. Tomorrow's high 47. Considerable cloudiness tomorrow night with a bit of rain late. The low 37. Increasingly windy Thursday with periods of rain. Temperatures approaching the record last reached in 2001. Will reach a high Thursday of 63. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Drew Shannon.
I grew up in Swissvale, and there's a little tiny church. A little tiny church. Maybe you could fit in 100 people. And I drove by there the other day, and I was with my buddy, and I was shocked because this church had a for sale sign in front of it. And I was like, can you believe that? He said, my buddy said, hey, that would make a nice coffee shop. And I said, it'd make an even better church. But that's where we are in America today. Things have really receded. Mm-hmm. You know it in your neighborhoods. How many churches, Catholic churches, Baptist churches, Presbyterian churches are now B&Bs or private residences? It's just the era of the pullback of what it is to be a believer. Tim and Kathy Keller are with us. Tim wrote a piece that appeared in the Atlantic called American Christianity is Due for a Revival. And Tim, the story in that little church in my hometown illustrates, and I'm sure you see this in New York City as well, the churches have put up for sale sign up.
Yeah. I used an example at the very beginning of the article. That's why I think that's what you're referring to. When we first got here, there was an Episcopal church, beautiful Episcopal church, sort of downtown, West 20th Street, I think, and it had been bought and turned into a sex club. Basically, a sex and drugs club called the Limelight. And, that was I hadn't really seen that because we're talking about 1989, and we'd come up from Virginia through Philadelphia. But what we saw was in Virginia, the church was still growing, and they were still building churches. When I got to Philadelphia, I could see that things were different in the Northeast. It was already, I felt like the Christianity was already at least not seen as positively. And then when we got to Manhattan, Christianity was they were the bad guys. Christians were the bad guys. And there was very few people going to church, and the churches were being turned into sex clubs and condominiums and everything. And now, though, I think more and more, I'm afraid we are seeing that in the rest of the country, too. I think it happened in a place like New York first. Mm-hmm. Then it happened in smaller cities like Pittsburgh. Then it started happening everywhere. So it's not great. Nope.
So we have a varied audience to our show here, Tim and Kath. We have people who are believers. We also have people who aren't believers who, are from the Pittsburgh community or tri-state area. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure a lot of them who would not call themselves believers would say, well, I don't know if that's a bad thing. I don't know if it's that tragic of a thing that Christianity has less and less of an influence because you guys haven't done, such a great job running things for, a long time. So if that person comes to you and says, so why would it be a good idea, Tim Keller, for the church to be reinvigorated in society, what would you say?
That's a little hard to what I'm about to say sounds so counterintuitive to most people today that what seems more obvious is the scandals, in the Catholic Church and the Protestant Church and all the corruption. What people don't recognize is the very idea of equal rights for all human beings is a Christian idea. It's a biblical idea. It grew up in the West. The idea that we should take care of all the poor, not just our own poor, but all poor people, is a Christian idea. It comes from the idea that all human beings are in the image of God. Didn't grow out of Asia. Didn't come out of India or Africa or other places. It came out of Christianity. And to a great degree, we are extraordinarily indebted to the church at that high level. Secondly, I know Jonathan Haidt, who's an atheist. He's a social psychologist, a Jewish guy, not a good friend, but I know him and I love him. He's just a really smart, wonderful guy. And he says, basically, you're never going to have a really cohesive society without strong religious bodies. Because he says you can't have a society unless you believe that your morality is rooted in something sacred, something bigger than yourself. It's not just something we're making up out of our heads. And he said, actually, secular people don't really have that. Religion has that, and therefore it kind of creates an anchor. And then, of course, maybe I mentioned this. Here's the last thing. I mentioned this is the easiest one for people to get. 20 years ago, University of Pennsylvania did a study to figure out, in general, how much money local churches were basically pouring into their neighborhoods in the Philadelphia area, and how much it would cost the government if all the churches disappeared tomorrow, how much it would cost them to replace those services. And this is 2001, and they figured just inside the city limits of Philadelphia, it would be $250 million a year. Now, that's,
Wow.
Now, and yet, here's the thing. Christians do not believe that that Christianity is true because it serves society. We believe it can serve society because it's true. So you put all that together, if I had a little more time, I think I could make that sound a little more coherent.
Can I jump in with one comment here?
Yeah.
Some of the people who are saying, I'm not really so sad to see the back of Christianity, they can, disappear off the face of the earth, and that's fine with me. If they're talking about Christendom, I would agree. Christendom, it was not Christianity. It was sort of the civil religion, where you put the Ten Commandments outside the courthouse, and you had all of these societal markers of, Christianity being the top dog in the social order, and everybody else had to sort of keep quiet and celebrate Hanukkah or whatever else they wanted to on the down low. But Christianity, if they have a revival, that's a whole different thing. That's not a return to Christendom, where we rule as the power from the top down. It's a return to what Jesus talked about: is we serve from the bottom up. We take up the posture of we are people who've been saved by the gospel, and now we can be servants of our neighbors, rather than grab the power and force them to do what we think is the right thing.
I know our time's limited, but just to give you a real quick example, Peter Drucker, who's gone now, he was a business guru. When he moved from Europe to New Jersey in 1932 or something like that, and he was trying to buy a house, they said, "Where do you go to church?" The bank said, "Where do you go to church?"
Really?
Wow.
And he said, "I don't know that. Why are you asking that?" And he said, "Well, why would we give a mortgage to somebody who doesn't go to church? How would we trust you?"
Wow.
Okay, that's Christendom. That's what Kathy's talking about. I'm not sure that's good. Frankly, it feels to me that's just prejudice.
Yeah.
At that point, to say, "Oh, you're not going to get a mortgage," if you're Jewish or if you're an atheist, that's not fair. Right. So that isn't something we should care about as much. But on the other hand, I don't think people realize what would be lost if the church really dies.
Yeah. And Kath, okay, so here you are, Kath. You grew up in the eastern suburbs here in the city of Pittsburgh. And, of course, you grew up here. You saw, and I'm sure, Tim, you saw, Kath, your hometown church, your neighborhood church, and the work that they did. It was evident to you even as a young child, things were being done. People were coming here. You were part of the fabric of the community.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. When I told my mother, this is Christendom again, that I had become a Christian, I was in my teens, she said to me, "You've always been a Christian. You were born in America."
Yeah.
I said, "Mom, not exactly how it works."
Yeah. And there is a difference, right? I mean,
no, it's a good distinction between Christendom and Christianity.
Yeah.
But here's the problem, though. For the person I'm talking about who's listening to the program right now, there is no difference to them. They don't recognize that there's a distinction.
If you're not a believer?
Between Christendom and, a Jesus-following Christianity.
Right.
Well, I tried to say something about that at the end of the article, where I said, Christianity, the gospel, Christianity is not moralism. And I think most people do think that's what it is, just what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Moralism is where you are kind of harsh. You come down on people. You tell them you have to live like this, this, this. You have to live like me. And there's a self-righteousness. And you see, that self-righteousness is what people utterly hate.
Yeah.
And yet the actual gospel is that you are a sinner saved by sheer grace. Mm-hmm. That yes, if
just
you
like
experience the grace of God in your life, you will obey God. You will follow. You won't kill. You won't steal. You won't lie. In other words, you of course will be a moral person. But your motivation is not moralism, which is saying, "Look how great I am! I'm following all the rules."
Yeah.
What you're doing is once you realize you're saved strictly by God's grace because Jesus died for you, it creates a desire, an eager desire, to unself-righteously want to love God and love your neighbor, as a way of just saying, thank you for the grace that you've given me, and I want to give back. I want to give back to you. I want to give back to my neighborhood. So it's really not the moralism, and you're absolutely right. Most people don't see any difference in Christianity and moralism.
Mm-hmm. So then, if there is a revival, and Tim, in the piece, in the Atlantic piece, you make a strong case that a revival is coming. Is a lot of that hinged upon the decline of the established, sort of waspish church that we all grew up in, and a new church that hinges on a rise of immigrants who bring their faith to this country?
Part of it is that. What we're seeing is, and it's very interesting. Christianity is growing by leaps and bounds in Latin America, Africa, China, and other places in the world. But there are other places in the world where the population is growing too, unlike us. And so what always happens is the places where the population is growing faster tend to emigrate to places where where the population is not growing as fast. And so what's going to happen over the next 50 years is so many people are going to be moving to the United States from those parts of the world that are more Christian, and they're going to be bringing their missionaries with them. My guess is Koreans, listen, I do know this, in 1992, Koreans and Chinese people in New York City had already planted 300 new churches.
Wow.
300 by 1992, over a 20-year period. Africans had planted 110. Now, I haven't been keeping up, but my guess is those numbers have at least doubled.
Wow.
And that's just New York. But that's going to start happening. And, of course, the kids are going to grow up, and we're going to all get married. And so increasingly there will be strong, growing, multi-ethnic churches in this country, and that's exactly right, John.
So, when I hear that, it's thrilling to me. I think because John and I have been so fortunate to be able to travel around the world and meet people who believe in Jesus from different tribes and cultures, and there's just absolutely nothing like it. It truly is truly is a foretaste of the kingdom. I understand though that there are probably a lot of people listening to the program who look at that with a little bit of trepidation, and they think, well, I don't want America to become South Korea. Or I don't, and so the ideas of immigration in a geopolitical sense get a little mashed up with thinking that the church is multicultural.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what. You're right. First of all, you have to be careful.
Tim? Can I interrupt you and say my line? If people do not enjoy multicultural churches, they're not going to enjoy heaven very much.
Yeah.
Seriously, every kingdom, tribe, people, nation.
Right.
Are going to be there. And if you're not ready for that, you're not going to enjoy heaven very much.
So down here, I was just going to say, within the church, it's seasoning. It's not a totally new church because what ends up happening is that when when Korean Americans come into the church, they bring something from their Korean Christianity. And the result in the end, though, is not Korean Christianity. It's I guess you could say it's more global Christianity. Mm-hmm. And you learn. I mean, when I first started having Asian staff members on my church staff at Redeemer, they started telling me things that I could be doing a lot differently, because in Korean churches they do it this way. And like one time out of two, I would say, no, I'm not going to do it that way. I don't think that's a good way. But another one time out of two, I would say, that's better. Mm. That is a better way of doing it. And I was learning from my multi-ethnic staff. And Redeemer became a much stronger church, but recognizably an American church. Mm-hmm. So you ought to see it more like seasoning. When it comes to the geopolitical stuff, the political stuff, I don't think I better talk about that right here, but I do think in the end that it doesn't mean the overthrow of America.
Right.
It just does not. People are still coming into American institutions, and I believe that the American institutions will be seasoned by all these immigrants, just the way my church was, and it'd still be a recognizable American church.
I agree, yeah. And so whether we like it or not, and despite our gnashing of teeth and fear of a changing country, this country always changes, that we will still, in many ways, still be Christian, right? I mean, Christian, whether it's Korean Christian or whomever, Christ will still be here in the United States of America.
Yeah, and that's what should matter.
Absolutely.
Right, and here's the thing. I think the closer we become, the more that we progress down the road of sanctification, each one of us, right? We're going to start to prize the things that God loves, and not the things that we hold on to so tightly. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't love America, because I love America, and I hope that the South Korean Christians love their, you know what I mean? I don't think there's anything wrong with patriotism, but there is something about our hearts that become more like him the more we know him. And so if he loves the multi-ethnic church, I really believe that our hearts are going to be drawn into that too.
I totally agree. And it's also true, by the way, that every person, when you become a Christian, you're changed a bit from the non-Christian culture around you, whatever it is. So I do know, for example, America is extraordinarily individualistic. Like I can do my own truth, and I can define myself.
Right.
Well, American churches are relatively individualistic compared to Korean churches. Yeah. On the other hand, we've been changed by the Bible. The Bible doesn't let us go all the way in that direction. Actually, Korean churches, and I'm saying this because I know them, tend to be authoritarian a little bit more because Korean culture is authoritarian. But Christianity, it modifies that. Christianity keeps the authoritarianism of some cultures, and it moderates it inside the church, just like it's moderated individualism inside the American church. We ought to be very happy for the fact that God is bringing us together across these racial barriers and just letting us be. I mean, when I become a Christian, I'm not a Chinese Christian, I'm an American Christian, but I'm also different. I'm letting the gospel critique my Americanness in some ways, and it makes me, I think, a better American, but certainly a great Christian too.
Amen.
Well, that's a good word.
Tim and Kathy Keller. Tim's new book, Forgive. Why should I? How can I? We're going to let you guys go. But wait, before we do, though, Super Bowl's coming up. Kath, Tim, do you have any interest?
The Steelers aren't playing. Who cares?
No, wait a minute.
Tim, this is where Tim's going to have his best moment.
By the way, I was really encouraged by the latter part of the Steelers season, not the first part.
Yes, we were too.
That's kind of exciting. Yeah, right. And there's some young players there that I really hope will be good. But you might want to keep in mind, I was raised in eastern Pennsylvania.
I know. This is what you've been waiting for.
Flatter, and the Eagles are there.
Yeah.
Eagles are in eastern Pennsylvania. So sorry, I have a favorite.
No,
okay,
fabulous.
so for your Super Bowl party, though, you have to have clear liquid only.
Don't remind me.
Okay, what? So I need to send like chicken soup.
Wings and clear liquid wings really are not appetizing.
Oh, that's super sad. Okay, well, whenever you're feeling better, Tim, we'll send you something like really terrible, like wings and
kielbasa.
Yeah. Oh, sauerkraut and kielbasa. I have made a believer out of Tim.
Oh, excellent.
That's one of his favorite things.
Excellent.
All right, hey, we're praying for both of you guys.
Yeah. Always a pleasure, guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Greatly appreciate
That's
it.
Tim and Kathy Keller. Tim's latest book is called Forgive. Why should I? How can I?
All right. At least one side of the family is saying go Eagles. The other, of course, Super Yinzer, Steeler forever.
101.5 WORD.
Plan now to join Word FM aboard the Gateway Clipper. It's our Valentine Dinner Cruise, Friday, February 10th. A special night out for sweethearts, couples, and friends. Enjoy a delicious dinner buffet in the romantic warmth of the Gateway Clipper's Empress as you take in spectacular views of the city skyline. Boarding time is 6 p.m. Book now at wordfm.com. Sponsored in part by Trinity Jewelers and Cornerstone Television.
Hello?
Hey, stranger.
Oh, hi. Thank goodness it's you. I was afraid to answer the phone.
Why? What's up?
The credit card companies are after me. They want me to make payments and the calls never stop.
Ouch. Been there before, but I got help from Trinity Debt Management.
Trinity?
Yeah, I called and right away Trinity contacted my creditors and got my interest rates cut in half. They ended all the late fees and over-limit charges, and they stopped those annoying phone calls.
Bet that was a relief.
Yep. Then they put me on a plan that consolidated my bills into one easy monthly payment. That way, I paid off my debt fast while saving thousands.
Nice.
Trinity even showed me how to plan and meet a monthly budget. So now I'm debt-free for keeps.
Wow. Do you still have their number?
Sure. Here, write this down and call 1-800-936-5496.
Can you repeat that?
1-800-936-5496. That's 1-800-936-5496.
We're entering a time of increasing hostility against people of faith, a time when Christians are going to be tested on a moral and physical and financial basis, unlike any other time in our lifetime. I'm Lance Wallnau, Christian author, evangelical leader, here to remind you that you have to take action to protect and steward what God has given you. For example, record high inflation is going to continue to eat away at the dollar, and the savings of your retirement account is in danger. Fortunately, God does provide a way. To protect your retirement, I recommend diversifying your 401k or IRA out of paper and into physical gold. And the best way to do that is with a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. Now, to see how it works, just text the word faith to 989898. That'll give you access to a free info kit on gold IRAs. There are no strings attached, so text FAITH, F-A-I-T-H, to 989898 right now, and I pray your family is blessed with peace of mind because you took action.
Train up a child in the way they should go. Well, you know the rest. It's a calling you take very seriously as a Christian parent, and Trinity Christian School in Forest Hills seeks to honor your commitment by working together with parents to prepare students who are academically sound and spiritually ready to take their place in the world through a classical approach to education that helps build a faith from which they will never depart. Trinity Christian School, one of the top K-12 schools in Allegheny County, at trinitychristian.net.
Does this make sense?
Does what make sense?
Goodness. Award shows.
Yeah, not really. They don't make any sense at all. And you know me, I love myself the Oscars because it's so crazy weird. It doesn't make any sense because how do you place like a merit on artistic representation, right? Like Picasso is number one, Rembrandt is number two, right? I mean, right? And
haven't they become so? I feel like the Grammys jumped the shark on Sunday night.
Oh, really? With the Satan thing?
Yeah, with the Satan thing. You don't think?
No, it's just more like...
I feel like it jumped the shark.
I believe if people like us didn't talk about it that much, it would just quickly go away.
But that's why it's jumped the shark, because nobody wants to talk about it. It would just go away, because nobody cares anymore.
Right. Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, that doesn't upset. That whole thing is just ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
For those people, what's interesting is like somebody who was in an award show like Brando 30, 40 years ago, he's pretty much forgotten in the culture today. So everybody has their moment in the sun, and then we move on. And then this new generation who, whether it's People's Choice Award or Oscars or Grammys, I don't know these people for the most part. They're having their moment in the sun for this generation, and then we move on. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it makes everybody feel good if you're interested.
Yeah. The problem is that 99% of the populace appears not interested. So I think at this point, I think it'd be safe to say that award shows don't make sense.
Yeah, the numbers will bear it out, right? All right, does this make sense? Track suits for non-athletes.
Oh, gosh.
Okay? Now, listen, I have like an affinity. I do not own a tracksuit. But I see people wearing those and I go, you look pretty good in that. That's okay.
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
I like the fashion sense of it all. And I'm not like a hip hopper. Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Come on. What do you mean it doesn't make?
Talking tracksuit?
It looks cool.
No,
Don't you like?
doesn't.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
It's a fashion thing.
It's not a fashion thing. It's a fashion thing if you're a track star.
No. I don't think so.
Yeah.
And I saw I saw somebody the other day.
Yeah.
With a velour tracksuit.
That's the worst.
This was like
that's the worst incarnation of the tracksuit.
1978.
It's the velour tracksuit.
Velour
There's no reason for that.
You would never wear a tracksuit?
Absolutely not. I mean, how I feel about running.
I think you would look good in a tracksuit.
Okay, well, I wouldn't.
Right?
I promise. And I hate to say this in a public place, but you wouldn't either.
I might wear one Friday.
Oh gosh.
On the cruise. On the Valentine cruise.
Because you know why it doesn't make sense.
I love you, a bushel and a peck, and a hug around the neck. Hi there, it's me, Marcia from the Spring House. So, I'm wondering, what are you planning for your Valentine's sweetheart this year, besides a hug around the neck? How about a fun candlelight dinner at the Spring House? We'll be serving a delicious 4-course meal featuring wedding soup, reunion salad with honey balsamic dressing, grilled marinated flank steak, celebration chicken or mai, all that good food plus wonderful serenading by amazing local artist Bob Podish. Hop onto our website at springhousemarket.com to make reservations for you and your sweetie today.
First, we decide where we want to go. Then we need to know the best way to get there. Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold. We're the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. We teach people how to own physical gold and silver. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest #1 national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Get the best information, the best process, the best service, the best value. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
Call 800-900-8000.
Redeemer Christian School is a private school in Moon Township serving children in preschool through 8th grade. Recognized for its commitment to a biblically integrated curriculum that nurtures a Christian worldview and academic excellence, Rhema aims to develop the whole child, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, and socially. Rhema is a true community of families who desire to raise up the next generation of godly leaders, also offering programs for homeschool families, accepting enrollment now for the current school year and opening soon for the 2023-24 school year. Visit RhemaChristianschool.org.
Good Housekeeping just released its list of 65 New Year's resolutions to make you a better and happier you. They're good things, but no surprise. Not one of them includes worship. Why not resolve to get to know the Creator, the one who knows you inside and out? This is Pastor Tom Hall of First Presbyterian Church of Pittsburgh, 320 6th Avenue, downtown. Join us Sundays at 10:45. This year, resolve to come back to church.
There's this guy His name's Nick Castro. Nick's Extreme Pest Control.
Is his company?
In Santa Rosa, California. And he got a call. He said there were some mealworms and maggots emerging from the wall.
Oh,
and he said,
in somebody's house?
Yeah. And he said, well, we've gotten calls like this before. There's probably like a dead animal stuck in, dead in the wall and, decomposing. Anyway, he arrived at this house at 8 a.m. with 2 colleagues. He then used a drywall knife to create a 4-by-4-inch hole in a second-floor bedroom. Acorns rushed out of the pocket. The pile stood 20 feet high. 20 feet high. They were deposited by birds. Birds apparently...
birds can pick up acorns?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 700 pounds of acorns were in the walls. 700 pounds. Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
Spilling out of the wall. There's a photograph of this guy laying on his back surrounded by these things. 20 feet high? How big is the house? Right? Can you imagine being in that business?
So, now there had to have been a couple squirrels that were in on this, too. No? Is this all birds?
Well, I'm reading. Yeah, he's saying it's a bird.
Does it not surprise you that birds can pick up acorns?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can imagine a big bird could, but how many?
He just soon discovered woodpeckers had stored tens of thousands of acorns, which he said weighed roughly 700 pounds in a wall cavity. 20 feet high. Good gravy.
You know what they are? They're preppers.
Preppers, a little bit of a pack rat.
Those two woodpeckers.
Right?
They're like, look, the end is coming. We got to get ready.
He carved 3 more holes to unleash the acorns, which he said filled 8 garbage bags. They carried the bags to the truck. Woodpeckers and acorns were scattered around the house.
Can you imagine how mad the woodpeckers are?
I did all that work.
I mean, for goodness sake.
It's a little bit overkill. You never know what's in the walls of your house, right? Be careful out there.
The Ride Home with John and Kathy, a production of Salem Media Group.
This is Jerry Boyer for townhall.com. The markets appear to be pricing in a recession in America. In fact, recent data suggests that we may have already entered it. But this recession was avoidable. It was, in baseball parlance, an unforced error. You see, a distorted economic theory called Keynesianism teaches that inflation is caused by too much growth. And so the solution to inflation is recession. It might be an official recession, half a year of negative growth, or it could be what's called a growth recession, in which growth remains positive but sluggishly low. The problem is that when inflation gets very high, government thinks it needs to hit the economic brakes hard, and that usually leads to a bona fide recession. Supply-side economics is the right answer. It sees growth as the solution, not the problem. Tax and regulatory easing to help with growth and monetary tightening to help with inflation. Forcing a recession to fight inflation is all pain and no gain. It's time to bring back Reaganomics. I'm Jerry Boyer.
We are everywhere on your radio at 101.5 WORD FM Pittsburgh, at wordfm.com, the Word FM mobile app, iHeart, TuneIn, and Odyssey.